So, a subject I wanted to talk about is kind of sensitive to me because it's something I'm kind of frustrated with. But I wanted to talk about youth. Um, when you think about youth, it can mean a lot of different things to an entirely different generation. It can mean, and I think society today is more youth obsessed than ever. It could mean Um, when I think about youth, I think about going to the club and partying every single night, getting drunk with your friends, getting arrested over minor stupid shit because you were too drunk to find common sense. Youth is about discovery and all this new bullshit that you have yet to discover because the world is bigger than the childhood that you left that that you left behind. But for me, youth was completely wasted on me, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. See, the more aware that I become over my depression, that depression is really a real thing. Depression is a mental illness. The more I realize how damaging it was to not only my life, but I feel like my time to be young, time to do new things, explore new things, explore opportunities. I feel like depression took that away from me, and I even wrote in my journal yesterday, after wanting to write in my journal for several days, and it did take quite a few days to even write in my journal about anything because of depression just really sucks the life out of me. Even when I was writing, I was struggling just to write half a page, yet alone a whole page, about how I couldn't forgive myself for pretty much destroying pretty much what people consider their youth, which will of course be like your 20s, when you're supposed to be reckless and having fun and learning how to be responsible at the same time. I never had any of those things, to be honest with you. If I lived to be like some 50-year-old, I can say that I spent my youth hiding from the world, and I have a huge guilt over this. My youth was trying to not have fun, not, not, my youth was, basically just hiding from the world, being afraid because of my social anxiety and depression too. But before there was even depression, there was this huge fear of being around people. I didn't want to go outside, always stayed inside the house, and if I did go, it was usually just around my neighborhood. I never really hung around other kids when I was a child. And as a teenager, and that's something that I carried with me throughout my adulthood as well. So I never did the usual thing that most young people do, especially when it comes to older people that are like in their 50s and 60s and how they see young people today. Always partying, always doing drugs, this and that, getting into trouble, enjoying life. I never had that. I'm glad, drugs, I never had an interest in it. To be honest with you, I never. So that's one thing I can say, that I was young and didn't want to do all this negative bullshit that a lot of young people try to do to be cool or try to fit in with the crowd. Now, I did try to be like other people so I could fit in, but I never did anything besides my own self-destructive behavior, I never did anything like drugs or smoke, anything like that. I did smoke cigarettes, but I only experimented with it. So I tried it like between 8 or 9 times, and then I called it quits. It was just one of those things where I wanted to see it. And I can understand the appeal of, smoking cigarettes. It makes you look cooler, but it's definitely not worth your health, and it was disgusting anyway. But, I never had a chance to be my own age. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I never had that experience, and the more I realize that I really am depressed, the more guilt I have for wasting my youth. I don't even know how to have fun now, and I'm 32 years old. Um, and I don't just mean by like Mario Kart, because yeah, Mario Kart is fun. I'm talking about like doing something outside. I play video games partially out of mental health reasons. It provides a healthy distraction from quite often suicidal thoughts and thoughts of self-harming, although technically I've since retired. I consider myself retired from self-harming, but I feel like I'm in that stage where I could start relapsing back into it, mostly out of stress though, because I don't know how to handle stress in a positive way. I mean, yeah, I can play games, I can listen to music, but sometimes my stress is just too much. It's just too much to bear, and I don't know how to deal with that. But outside of games, like I don't know how to be young. I don't know how to act young. I don't know how to. I want to, if I survive my depression, which part of me hope I don't, because surviving means living, and right now I don't even know how to live, which goes back to wasting my youth. I wasted my youth wanting to end my own life, and I feel like although I do have interest, probably now more than ever, wanting to recover, wanting to heal mentally, I feel like sometimes it's just too late. The benefits, let's say I was completely healed from depression today, I wouldn't know what to do with my own life. Like how am I supposed to enjoy life when I'm not that typical person that is defined as young and young and carefree or young and wild. I don't go to clubs. I don't do that. First of all, now, yes, when I was younger, in my 20s and mid-20s, I did go to a bar a few times. But let me tell you the result of that. Me leaving within 10 minutes or less, sometimes 5 minutes. Because I couldn't handle being around drunk people. They didn't even have to be drunk. The fact is, they were people. I'm terrified of people, and I just don't want to volunteer to be around people all the fucking time. I don't have a desire to do things in a social clique. When you think about youth, you think about groups of friends. Friends that do absolutely everything together, go on road trips. And I guess if I ever had a friend, I would like to do stuff like that with. But notice how I said friend and not friends. Maybe 1 or 2 people would be nice, but other than that, I don't need an entire social clique to cling to. I don't feel the need to, my version of young and restless was hurting myself. From cutting my wrist, and taking great pleasure in it because it meant my self-destruction. My version of Young and Restless was trying to commit suicide in numerous forms, such as hanging, suffocation, overdosing being technically the last suicide attempt that was supposed to be as such. I'm not handling stress in any type of healthy way. So I did punch a wall a few weeks ago, and I actually hit it so hard my hands started bleeding. I never done that before. Hitting the wall, that's just not me. And I'm falling into self-harming techniques again, not for suicide attempts, but for dealing with a huge amount of stress, which I don't know how to handle, because I'm dealing with 2 mental illnesses by myself with no support. And because I'm dealing with mental illness on my own without any type of support, any advice, any I don't know, like I don't have a mentor or therapy. Well, vlogging is my therapy because having a therapist never worked for me, like ever, and I have a history with going to therapy. So I guess there's that strain of not knowing what to do, and it scares me, in terms of if I can even move on from, a life of depression. The only life that I know, my life, my youth, was feeling unhappy, and I'm still very, very, very miserable. But my youth was spent trying to end my life. It wasn't, I will never have a youth where it's about being excited for the good times, creating memories for yourself to remember things that have happened. I feel that opportunity was robbed from me. I feel like with not just depression, but poor judgment overall and making bad choices, I just feel like I just ruined everything, and I don't have a youth anymore. Like, I honestly had a midlife crisis at 25 years old. So already when I was 25 years old, I felt like I was too old to do anything, too old to change, and now it's even worse now that I'm 32 years old. But talking about youth and what I missed out on, I feel like that I don't want to continue to live like this. I already missed out on what's supposed to be like your special part of your life, like your youth basically, and that was basically wasted on me because I wanted to kill myself. I'm not sure if I should really be blaming myself for that though, because although I do blame myself these days for having depression, maybe I could have avoided it, maybe not. More than likely not though, because of my social anxiety. It was even worse as a child and as a teenager, and I was going through that by myself. It was never a discussion with anyone outside of me writing it in my journal on occasion. I wanted to talk about this because I don't want to go through 2018, which is less than, basically in half a month from now, like this. I did try this year to gradually break out of that, which pretty much backfired every single time. and it only convinced me once again that I'm a failure, that I will always be a failure, and the only result I will ever get from doing anything is failure. Like, I will never experience success. And I don't mean necessarily career, because I need to get my mental health in order first before I can do any life plans. But I feel like no matter what I do, I'm gonna fail. I don't know how to. It's very difficult for me to challenge myself outside of the usual hide from the world routine. I want to break out of this. I know I have depression now. I know that I have social anxiety. And I know I want to challenge myself even further by doing more things outdoors. Maybe participate in more winter activities like ice skating for one. That would be nice. I've only been ice skating twice. And although I'm horrible at ice skating, maybe that's something I should look into doing. Instead of hiding indoors all the fucking time. I don't want to live like this forever. I don't want to live like this now. As a matter of fact, there is something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. And it's actually called Sky Zone, which is supposed to be like an indoor trampoline park. The thing is, am I too old to make a fool out of myself by jumping on a trampoline? I mean, I know, like, a lot of adults do it, and at this point, the only thing I can do is be myself. Do what interests me. And I would love to go to Sky Zone. And it's not just to fool around with. I mean, I could go. They have. I already know that Sky Zone offers like a workout class that you can do, dodgeball. I should be doing stuff like that, but outside of that, it's like I'm completely clueless, because I literally led the I can't even talk. I lived a very sheltered life, and this is very bad for me, because now, as I'm wanting to gradually, and I do mean very gradually, because the thought of me living panics me. So I need to take things slow, but I still think I need some type of knowledge on what I should do. Like, how does a person have fun? How does a person stay young and have fun? Like, I don't know none of these things because I missed out on it, and I have a huge guilt over it. Like, I consider myself a dumbass for missing out on opportunities. And I don't just mean like graduating from college, which I haven't done. I guess I think I might as well kind of make this into like a mini series in terms of being young has many different departments. I think I should do another vlog about being young and gay too, and how that affected me. I think that's going to be kind of like my next topic of choice, so I think I'm going to do that. Because I don't want to run this vlog for too long. So I'll just split it, but I think the thing is, I don't want 2018 to be a repeat of practically every year. I know I can't afford to do luxurious things every day, but shouldn't I at the very least learn how to live for the small moments? I don't need to do anything extreme. That'll be for the later half of my life. But I think for now I should, if there's a lesson to be learned, I need to live for the small moments. And I don't even know where I can find these small moments at right now. But that's just me.